Okay, so of course it used to be a fortification, and we all have in mind the kind of very stereotyped picture of cliché, you know, with a void, a glacis that surrounds the city. I mean, there still are cities like that in the Netherlands, and it's a cliché. But what is nice in the cliché is the emptiness. So what I want to say, water of the canal plus a glacis, you know, these long slopes that follows the water. That void that surrounds the city is a fantastic thing. And of course, today, some spaces have been progressively transformed into gardens and parks, and every space has been developed according to its own logic, and you don't have anymore this vision around the city. It's very hard to make a mental picture of this surrounding space. So according to me, this is the issue. There are charming places, and even the water sometimes looks like a charming river where you probably can wait for a stronger space, something that really helps you have a mental picture of the city and maybe more interesting, more intensive uses. And in your city, what I thought, there is a kind of lack of empty spaces in the very center. You have a garden, piazza, but there is a kind of missing emptiness. And so my feeling is this belt of gardens doesn't help to build the spaces one could need in your city. So, new identity of this park could be to play with the void. So again, I'm not thinking about a restoration. I mean, it would make no sense to try to come back to a kind of restoration of the previous fortifications. But I will think it could be fantastic to build a kind of very large emptiness surrounding the city. So to find maybe the quality of space of this addition of water plus an empty glacis. And I mean, my contribution in this small ideas competition is really focused on this idea of dealing with space, remodeling space, reorganizing, recomposing space in such a way that there could be this incredible belt of emptiness around the city. This about uses is fantastic, but about the mental picture one could have of the city is very important. It will bring some distance. It will bring an openness that definitely is missing. How to do that? Of course, this is the main question. It's sort of easy. It's a question of recomposing, sculpting, literally, the vegetation around. And it's a very sensible issue. Of course, it could appear like a vandalism. One coming in a city and taking off trees. Of course, it's not the way we want to do it. It's a real sculpture. And mostly we have to organize water, void, and maybe a strong presence of vegetation in the back, on the city side. And doing that would be a very precise selection of the more interesting trees, and not so, meaning it's not a real void. It's a void plus monumental trees that will be kept and composed, and adding more trees in the back. So at the very end, what we purpose is planting more trees than trees that will be cutted. So that's the purpose. I'm definitely convinced that recomposing this space, dealing with void and with emptiness and with dense plantation, will really help quickly to give a new identity, a new vision on space. Of course, this is a contribution only. And a lot of other studies have to be developed, like activities, program, uses. But according to me, space is a driving theme. We need to transform this space to deal with activities as well. And of course, with a void, we have to think about interesting or not interesting uses. But keeping some trees will help us define precise location for certain activities. It's not that empty. And slopes will help us control some activities as well. So I mean, we have all a range of ways to make a strong connection between space and activities. But according to me, such a park requires a lot of study that will involve all stakeholders, I mean people from the city, users, association, people. It's not something that could be done abroad in an office with fantastic ideas about everything. This makes no sense. This is a long way, a long process. My contribution on this small ideas competition is to think there is an easy, strong transformation of space that could drive a lot of other studies.